This year almost killed me, drowning in my sense of dread, conversating with the voices in my head whispering, it's too cold for secrets, it's too dark to see this through, levitating over shattered glass in my mind.
Hi, I'm Blake.
I'm Zach.
I'm Lily.
I'm Will.
And this is
OnlyBands.
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 I thought I was the one
OnlyFans.
saying
That's
this.
a different thing. OnlyFans is different. We're not associated with OnlyFans.
Part of the charm is knowing how each band ends up doing it.
Oh, did I say OnlyFans?
No,
I meant OnlyBands.
It's just the joke that we have. Oh shit, I have the wrong headphones. It's fine. We were gaming. Whatever. I got the big funky headphones.
We're little gamer bitches.
Yeah, we were gaming before this, so we are high energy right now.
But we are here with.
We were doing Minecraft.
We are here with William Patrick Jackson of Peacebandit.
Yeah.
How's it going?
We're very happy to have you here. So there is one question that I want to ask you right off the bat, and it's something that I in real life never asked, and I don't know why. What made you decide to take a step from loyalty to me and do Peacebandit?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say a step back, more of just like in addition to.
Yeah.
But yeah, just I want to basically, I've really enjoyed being the front man in the band Loyalty to Me, which I'm still very much doing. But I also really wanted to put myself out there more as a songwriter. I had a lot of new music ideas that I kind of wanted to explore, and I'm trying to kind of work more behind the scenes and work more with other artists. So I kind of started this project as a double whammy, as they say. So I'm releasing my own music under the name, but also kind of the real purpose is to try and work with more other artists. And that's why I did this collaborative album, which I'm sure we'll get into. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Definitely. So what is Peacebandit outside of a solo project? What is the main focus of Peacebandit that you'd like other people to know about?
I would just say collaboration, really. So, again, I'm kind of putting myself out there as a songwriter first and also an artist, kind of. So, I kind of have my style and stuff, but pretty much every song I release is going to be a collaboration with someone else. So, I really like working with others, obviously, and that's kind of the goal. So, and I think in a way it really it's almost more personal when I work with someone else because they help bring it out of me, and I help bring it out of them. So.
Absolutely. I can say I'd just like to interject just to peek behind the curtain real quick. I am actually on co-creative, and Will and I are both really, really proud of the song that we put together, but the writing process itself was really, really interesting because Will, you have such a driven, like a very goal and objective driven style of writing where you just know exactly what you want and you know exactly how to do it. And the way that you're just able to turn that off and be so immediately open to other ideas and input, it's a little jarring at times. I remember there were times where I was just during the writing process, you were just silent for a good 20 minutes and you're like, okay, hey, check this out. But then you're like, okay, now write the bass line. And I'm just like, okay, yeah. And it's working with you really was a pleasure. And I'm sure that everybody else felt the same way.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I really just enjoy working with others, and it's a cool way to work with all these people that I haven't gotten to work with in that capacity as well,
Took us long enough.
I love that. Wow. That is so beautiful, and I just love how you're so open, it seems, to different styles.
I think it's almost poetic because we're kind of living in a world right now where people don't want to be around each other. And you are taking that on the other side and you're like, no, I want to work with other people. I want to create something together. Mm-hmm. And you're kind of sending out that message that, yeah, right now is kind of a crazy world, but we can still be together. We can still do the things that matter with other people.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, pretty much. So this album I'm recording is called Co-Creative, or have recorded. And every song is a collaboration with a different artist. So it's 12 different artists, 12 different songs. And
different genres.
Yeah,
really.
Lots of different genres. But, you know, I keep talking about this lately, especially. But one thing I love about the producer, Doug, that we worked with is I felt like he was good at, like, he would kind of pick up on these little quirks about me and my songwriting and be like, hey, I notice you do this a lot. Why don't you try this here? That seems like a Will thing. And there's kind of these things throughout the album that are consistent, and it does feel like an album, not a compilation. And that's kind of what I wanted.
It has a cohesive identity, which is the most impressive part about it, because how many different genres would you say are on this record?
I mean, it's all over the place. I don't know. I mean, I feel like it all falls between alternative and pop somewhere.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot of ways.
There's a lot of gray area in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I absolutely love that.
It's just like it's really cool how like you're able to take like so many different variations of the same art form and like somehow make them all cohesive.
Yeah, I mean, just to illustrate, like there's one song that's like basically an instrumental song on the flute that I did with my friend Morgan, who plays flute. And then on the other end of the spectrum, there's this kind of like hyper pop new metal kind of song that I did with my friend Kay as well. And it's like literally everything in between that. So it's like very all over the place, but also cohesive somehow.
There's something for everyone.
Yeah, it's not called creative, it's called co-creative.
Yeah.
I see what you did there.
I love that. Yeah. So what is your writing process for you personally in terms of this album? Like, we know a little bit about how goal-driven it is, but can you give us a little more in-depth information as to how that looks for you?
Yeah, so really, I mean, some of the sessions were done over Zoom, and I feel like, and me and Zach's writing session was actually over Zoom. Of course, we recorded together in person, but in terms of writing and demoing, some of that was over Zoom. So I feel like the Zoom sessions are very cut and dry, like, let's just work on this. But if we do get the luxury of being together in person, I feel like it's very like, we take our time. Like, I really just like to like hang out and talk and listen to music and vibe for a while, talk about what might be going on in someone's life. And usually like an hour or so into that, I feel like the person I'm with will say some phrase and I'll be like, wait, hold on.
That's a line.
Let's write a song about that.
Yeah. Exactly what happened with us. That's so funny.
And then we start. So yeah, I mean, it's just, I really think the vibe is most important. I think when you're working with someone else, it's just as important to kind of be comfortable with them as it is to actually write. So when I write with people, I mean, sometimes they come over and we barely get anything done, but it's okay. Like, I'd rather just go at the pace that the song deserves. So
absolutely.
It's kind of, it's all about it sounds cheesy, but it's all about the vibe, you know?
How long have you been working on the project?
So I guess I came up with the idea early this year. We actually recorded in May and June. So that's when it was recorded. It's finishing being mastered right now. But yeah, I guess early this year I came up with the idea, and then throughout the first half of the year I was having my writing sessions with everyone.
Which really
it came together quite quickly, to be honest.
Yeah, I was gonna say that really speaks to like because I know, like you said, you're like, oh, it's like, it sounds cheesy, but it really is all about the vibe when it comes to like a writing session like that, and it really speaks to just how effective that is considering your turnaround. Like, how many songs are on this record?
12.
It's 12 songs, and it's kind of crazy thinking back because it was 15 days we recorded the whole album in.
Yeah, we managed to record 12 songs in 15 days, and 12 record and write 12 songs in general. Like that's
Yeah.
Wow.
that's an amazing amount of content in such a short amount of time.
On
Yeah,
top of that, you're
that's
not doing
incredible.
it yourself. You're working with others who are also,
Yeah.
you know, kind of creating this thing. And the fact that you guys could do it in that short of a time when you're running mostly on what seems like passion writing. Like you guys, when you
Absolutely.
feel that mood, that's when you guys
Yeah.
write. The fact that you got that done in such a short amount of time, that's astounding.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's very, very impressive. And what would you say the overall message is of the album? Like, if you wanted to get like one sentence about the album, what would that be?
I would say really just like using self-expression to work through anxiety, really. I mean, that's what a lot of the lyrics are about. And kind of when I listen to it back in order, it almost feels like it kind of tells a story. When we picked the order of everything, I was very intentional about that. But yeah, really, it's been a anxious year for everyone, I'm sure. Lots of changes in my life, and yeah, it just felt like it had to happen now. I felt like I had a lot I had to get out, and yeah, it really is just kind of like, you know, the only way we can get through this is together, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
I really would say that is just, you know, don't hold things in, let them out, talk about them, you know, spend time with the people you love,
Mm-hmm.
because relationships are really all we have at the end of the day, you know?
Yeah.
for sure.
So, how has your mental health been impacted by the pandemic? Because it seems like there was a lot of anxiety brought by the changes both in this year and over the past year for you that helped create this album.
Yeah, it really has been a rough year, honestly. I mean, it's funny because like I have all this exciting stuff coming up, but it was definitely born out of a lot of tough times, and still really. I think that, you know, I mean, being stuck inside, I really, I, I'm very go, go, go. Like I like to be out and about, but when I'm home, I feel like I can't do anything. So when I'm home, like by myself at least, I feel like I really just can't get anything done. So like, yeah, it's been hard. You know, I've tried a few different jobs, and you know, I'm working right now. But yeah, it's always kind of just figuring out what works best for me in the moment, and just trying to stay sane. I mean, that's really what this helped me do, is focus on something important and precious. And yeah, it's been a tough year, really. I mean, it's just funny because like, you know, perception versus reality. But
Mm-hmm.
I did get some messages recently, um, because of everything I've been putting out there about the album, you know, from people saying, I remember this one message in particular from someone I hadn't spoken to in a while, saying it's good to see you doing so well, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
for some reason that one thing they said like hit me so hard, because I'm like, yo, I'm not doing well at all. Like it's completely the opposite, you know.
I
But
was gonna, yeah, because I mean, like in terms of, of course we have added stress from the pandemic, and now you're taking on this massive undertaking, but you still have loyalty to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you balance all those things and work?
yeah, it's a lot. I mean, it really is just the one thing I love to do, and it's really, I mean, I'm lucky that loyalty to me is kind of like everyone has their lives and stuff, and we kind of you know, eventually we'd like it to be more of a business, but at least right now it very much is a passion thing for us. So you know, we kind of do stuff when we can. We're just doing singles for now. Like we're recording a bunch of singles at a bunch of different studios and releasing them over time instead of doing an album right now, because it makes more sense for us. um, and yeah, it is a lot to balance, but music kind of is that itch that I always have. So it kind of feels necessary. And there's also just sacrifices you have to make sometimes. I mean, there's that, I think it's a Drake lyric,
Oh
but
boy.
I think he says like, while everybody's out partying, I'm locked up making the music they party to. Like that's kind of real, you know? Like it's like you have to sacrifice a lot of like fun social things to pursue music, because it's like whenever I have free time outside of work, that's kind of what I'm working on. So
Would you
know,
say that
basically
that
I have no
sacrifice-
social life.
Would you say that sacrifice is worth it in the end now that you're coming towards the end of the project?
Oh yeah, especially now, like you said, like I feel like I've been able to sit back and enjoy it now. Like all the mixes are done, so I'll just sit back and listen to the whole album in order, like, and be proud of it, and I can just enjoy it. And getting to do more social stuff now, definitely. That was definitely eating up all my time at the time, but yeah, it's really definitely worth it, especially because of all the feelings I was able to let out working on it, you know?
Yeah, I totally relate to that. And in regards to having so much on your plate and having deteriorating mental health, and yet you're continuing on. So, what is keeping you going in these like hard times when you feel like you have no energy left?
Yeah, that's a good question.
We're very
Now
philosophical tonight.
it's I would say really the album. I mean, I think it's always good to just keep stuff planned, have stuff in the works. I already have music recorded to put out after the album too. So like I have a lot of things like lined up for the future, and it's a lot to look forward to. So it's really just killing time in between all those, you know. It's like it's weird. It's hard to describe being a musician and all this stuff, because it's like these huge bursts of euphoria, and then in between that there's a lot of like anxiety and stress and everything. But it definitely is worth it. But yeah, I would say really just the album. But yeah, it's, I mean, even before the pandemic, to be honest, I mean, I am bipolar, so I've had a lot of struggles with mental health in general. And it's funny because like I guess looking back, like with bipolar and everything, like I have this constant itch to like reinvent myself all the time and start new projects, start new bands, and all this different stuff. And that's just kind of how I am. And it's kind of perfect now that I'm doing this project where I do like a bunch of songs with a bunch of different people, because it kind of like scratches that itch of like, oh, this is something new. I'm working with someone new today.
It satisfies that compulsion that you have.
Exactly.
Like, I need to do something different.
Yeah, but in a healthy way, instead of like me making an irresponsible life
purchase
change
or anything like that. Yep.
Yeah, I gotta learn that one.
Yeah.
So I'm going to steal one of Blake's questions that he normally does, because I think it really fits here. What do you do outside of music to kind of unwind and de-stress when you don't want to work on your project anymore? You need to step back. What do you like to do outside of that?
Smoke weed.
And that's where I'm going to edit the smoke weed every day song.
Yes. Yeah, no, honestly. And then just spending time with friends and concerts, you know, now that they're finally happening again. I'm looking forward to going to more shows, and also just spending time with friends. But yeah, I would say those two things. It's still all music, you know. Music's on when I'm hanging out with my friends.
I mean, yeah,
going
like
to a
whenever,
concert.
anytime like we hang out, like if it's like around like a fire or something like that, there's always a guitar around, and you're like, hey, do you want to do our song? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And like, it's the thing, like, it was so funny because I thought about asking that question because I mean, Will is obviously a close person, friend of mine, but like, I I didn't want to ask that question because I already knew the answer. Like, your life really is just your love for music in different flavors.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. I get really into the nerdy nitty gritty of songwriting and stuff, and I just love listening to music. And
I think a lot of people admire that about you,
Yeah.
for sure.
I
And
had to
Seth,
kind of funnily enough, sorry to
okay.
interrupt,
It's your show. Go for it. You're the one here to
through
talk.
Yeah.
through the pandemic, I got really hooked on podcasts, but I actually had to like retrain myself to listen to music again because I
Yeah.
was getting so addicted to listening to podcasts. But then I realized I wasn't happy. And I was like, I haven't been like getting my usual release of listening to music, you know? So I had to retrain myself to like listen to music again, which is funny coming from a songwriter, but it's true.
Find
No, I've been
podcasts
there.
about music.
Yeah.
Then
I mean,
you
that's
get
the
both
thing.
those things.
Like, sometimes there's just a complete sensory burnout where it's just like I've been thinking about this, like music specifically. It's like I've been thinking about music and nothing but music for the past however long. I'm like, I just need to sit back. I'm gonna play a video game or something like that. Just like a palate cleanser. But like, and podcasts are a great one. But
Yeah.
like, then like 2 hours later, I'm like, oh god, I don't have any music in my brain anymore. I need to I need to refill it. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've talked a little bit about how you have bipolar and the struggles with that. What is one thing that you want other people to know about what bipolar is like?
Oh my gosh. So many things. That's a big question.
Feel free to spit a couple of them now. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's it's real and it's very like it's a lot more deep and serious than just like someone getting really pissed off out of nowhere, like kind of which I feel like is kind of like the surface level thing that you think of, but it really is, I mean, like you really have to be patient with someone that has bipolar if you're actually like, you know, part of their family or in a close relationship with them. I mean, I kind of, with my friends, I'm kind of able to just like withdraw when I know I'm in one of those places. But yeah, you really, I mean, my bandmates and everyone know, I mean, you really have to be patient with people like that. And I think that people with bipolar are usually very creative and very artistic and really create a lot of amazing art. But I think your bipolar friends and family and anyone you know kind of encourage them to keep themselves grounded, because the thing about being bipolar is if you get in a very manic state, which I often do with music, um, it becomes very all consuming. It's kind of like nothing else matters but this song, like literally, like nothing else in life matters. Like my responsibilities don't matter, you know, my job doesn't matter. Like it's literally like you will get so like wrapped up in something that like nothing else matters. And it's like, I feel like that's glorified a lot, but it's also scary. So like really encourage the people you know who are struggling with that to find things to keep them grounded. And you know, I feel like after the album I definitely did have like a huge downswing and burnout, that I'm kind of still going through, to be honest, because it's a lot of you know, it's like I don't know what to do with my time anymore. Like I was putting everything into this one thing, and then it wasn't there. And then I had a conversation with a friend of mine that was saying, well, you know, when you think about it, like you probably weren't really taking good care of yourself the whole time you did the album. And I was like, yeah, that's true, because like all I was caring about was the songs and everything. So um yeah, I mean, really just be patient and listen. And also, I would say I'm trying to think of the best way to word this. There is a very like scary side to bipolar that is, you get very tense and on edge, and you kind of feel like trapped in your skin sometimes. When I get like in the bad side of manic, and it gets intense. And I think that an important thing for people to remember is like the things someone is saying when they're in that state, like they are still valid. Like that is really how they're feeling. Like I feel like a lot of people tend to just like shut off their brain, like, oh, he's in that state now, so I'm not going to listen. But like the things someone's saying when they're in that state, like that really is how they feel in that moment. And like maybe later they'll have to have another conversation with you where they say, hey, I thought about it and I realized that, so and so thing isn't really how I feel, blah, blah, blah. But like a lot of times it really is valid. And I feel like a lot of things are invalidated by people in my life because, like, oh, he's just saying that because he's in one of his things, but a lot of times it's like, no, I really do feel that way. Like I'm in a better state of mind now and I still feel that way. So like, you got to be patient and listen. And but also like it's fine to like check people on being problematic as well. Like obviously that whole side can lead to problematic behavior, and like there's nothing wrong with being like, hey, you can't do that. Like I understand you're in a state, but like stop. And like that's just equally important as well. You can listen, but it's also like don't let someone just be an asshole to you for no reason.
It's equally important, you're right, to bring that up, not just for you or like for the sake of whoever is, like that close to somebody who has bipolar, but it's really, really important for whoever has bipolar to like have somebody that knows when like, yo, like you this is like you, this is a mistake, like
yeah, because the thing is like you can get so in your head about stuff that you like don't even realize how what you're saying is affecting other people.
That accountability is definitely still there.
Definitely. And I love how you brought up that what you're feeling in those moments of the mania and depressive are so valid and real to you, even though people may not always see it that way. And I think that's so important because there's a lot of gaslighting in between like outside of the community of mental health, and people not realizing that emotions are valid. It's what we do with the emotions. Emotions are neither good or bad. They just are, and they just are real, and they deserve to be acknowledged and accepted. That being said, like you said, there's going to be that accountability piece for not doing things that are going to be destructive, whether it's to you or a loved one. Because with bipolar, if I know this correctly, there's your mania, which some people have, or it's the depressive, where there could be that suicidal ideation. Versus mania, it might be jumping in front of like a bunch of cars because you think you're invisible. And it's good to just have that grounding, like you mentioned, to be like, hey, wait, no, take a step back, don't do that, But
yeah,
I
actually,
think it's,
sorry, I don't want to cut you off. I totally agree, and it is a balance, and it's about finding those things that like that you always do, like no matter if you're in a good state or a bad state, like these constant things that you can always come back to. And music's definitely a big part of that. I found some really amazing meditation that I do that's called breath work, which is really awesome. It's like it's intense. It's not like meditation. It's like you lay on the floor and like do this really intense breathing thing for like a half hour straight, and like you get all tripped out, and like
That's
all your anxiety,
exercise. Like that's
Yeah, I was
all
gonna
your
say I don't
anxiety goes
even.
away.
Yeah.
I don't think I
it's
have the patience for that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. It's so intense, really, that you like can't really focus on anything else. And like
That makes sense.
there's this guy, like the guy leading it'll be like borderline like yelling, being like if he's like a personal trainer almost, like he'll be like, if this is like if laying down and breathing is the hardest thing you've ever done, then like, who are you, and like you need to like whatever. And it's like intense, but it's awesome because it's so like healing. And then at the end there's like a traditional healing heart meditation at the end, and it's very like it's a cool thing I found, because I get very on edge and like trapped in my own skin kind of feeling. So doing this like intense breathing that helps you like let that all go has been really amazing for me. But yeah, for those with bipolar, I think the key, and I struggle with this still now, like every day, but the key really is like finding a routine of those things that help keep you stable, and like getting into that routine while you're good. So when you're bad, you're still in that routine and you're still doing those things. Because the problem is, especially with bipolar, is like during the mania parts, like you feel like everything's just good, and like, oh, I don't need to do this, I don't need to go to therapy, or I don't need to do this self-care thing because I feel great. Why do I need to go to therapy? Like, why do I? But it's all about like it always being there, because otherwise, like when you go down, it's too much of a drastic dip from where you were at before. So it's kind of just like developing a routine and sticking with it. And it's hard. It's almost harder during the good times, because it's like you feel like you don't need it. But the reason you do is because those habits are important.
Definitely. And I really like how you worded that. Thank you so much for being so vulnerable on this podcast with us. I feel like it's so important that we talk about mental health and what it's like for us, because that's the only way that the stigma is going to start to break. Because there unfortunately is a lot of stigma about mental health in general.
Oh yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. It really, and it's funny because like I feel like people say that like we live in this generation where we're like talking more about mental health and stuff, but like in my view, with my own experience, like as time has gone on, like it hasn't really gotten better. Like it's like on the outside, more people are like mentioning it, but like what I find is it's a lot of like people like replying to you on Twitter saying like, I'm here if you need anything, but
it's
they're
the
really not.
sensationalism of it. It's
But they're
Yeah.
really
actually
not,
being
like,
there.
It's like
so
just
yeah.
because you know the name of something, like doesn't like the name of a condition doesn't mean that you know what it's like to have or to go
Exactly.
through something like that. And it doesn't make you qualified to, tell anybody anything about their own condition.
I mean, it's real and it's hard. That's the thing. Like
Exactly.
it's not like
Oh,
you said,
cheer
it's
up, get
very
over it.
yeah, it's very
Yeah.
sensationalized, and I think people kind of like to like just be very sweet and be like, I'm so sorry you're going through this, and I'm here for you and sending love and everything. But like it's really hard, like living with someone who has a mental disability. Like you have to put in work. Like it's really not just like sending love and stuff. Like it really takes a lot of work and effort and money just dealing with these issues. So it's really, I'm glad you guys are doing this, because it's an awesome way to talk about it with more people. And
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
more because it affects everybody, and we're in such an industry like chock full. Like you said, most people that with bipolar are usually creatives, and they're making things, and like we don't talk about it enough. Like, I mean, you're familiar with As It Is, and
yes,
like and like I always
that's your
found
band, right?
yeah, it's me. But I always like I wasn't a huge fan of the album, but I was always super impressed with the record, The Great Depression, because it's literally saying like, yeah, we're basically putting our mental illnesses and like all of our trauma like on a giant billboard and like asking people to throw money at it. It's like ultimately it, like if art is to be genuine, it needs to be fueled by experiences, and
Exactly.
typically like the music that people in our line of work writes is typically so negative to some extent. So
Yeah.
like people don't
Yeah,
really
it's-
ask where that comes from.
It's interesting with emo music, especially. I talked about this a lot with one of my friends recently too. Is it really is like putting it all out there, and
Mhm.
like it's funny because like you put out these songs, and I'm in no way asking for this, by the way. It's just an observation. It's just funny that like everyone it like gives you praise, but no one is like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry that you went through that. Like, it's just
Yeah.
fun. It's a weird like phenomenon because everyone's just like, yes, I love this. It's so emo, you know? But it's like, we really go through this shit.
It's capitalizing
Yeah.
on that vulnerability, and I kind of
Yeah.
wonder how many people, artists in particular, who would write these vulnerable songs. If someone just said, "Hey, are you okay? Like, it's a great song, and it's fantastic that you were able to express this, but are you okay?" Like people like
Yeah.
Chester Bennington and people who have gone through all of these things and have so many emotional songs. Like listening to the song is great, supporting the band, but then also being like, are you okay? Like this took a lot out of you.
Yeah. And it kind of reminds me of another small local band called The Winter Forgot. When they released Desensitized, I was like,
I was waiting for that just to
Did,
slide.
Of course you were.
did it remind you of the
Slide
ones you
right in
forgot?
there.
I love
Yes.
them. They're great.
Yeah, they're
Oh, Blake
amazing.
loves them too. Blake's a
Oh,
big
I'm
fan.
obsessed. But that being said, when they released their latest single, I was like, whoa, this is incredible, first of all. But then I messaged them and I was like, are you okay? Because this is dark. This is heavy. Like, it's intense. And I just want you to know that I'm here for you. And that actually took the band by surprise. And that made me sad that they took it by surprise because it was like, I'm glad that I'm better now, but yeah, I was going through a really tough time when writing this. And I was like, I wish I had known it before you before you got better so that way I could have supported you. And I feel like there's not enough people that do that in the area where it's like, hey, this is great, but how are you truly doing? I wish just as a community, we all start doing that a little bit more.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say like we all just went through like a massively traumatic experience collectively, every single one of us, and like we completely like set off like our personal routines, our personal relations, work itself, like just your place of work changed forever, and like nobody's gonna take that 100% well. And it's ironic because I almost feel like we're seeing somewhat of like a renaissance in alt music. Like so many more new artists are blowing up and really like improving their craft and just putting out absolutely incredible art. But with that said, like we need to look out for each other.
Yeah.
Like we don't know like where that's coming from. We don't know if that is just like, oh yeah, I made a cool song, or it's like I went through this horrible thing and I'm not doing so good with it.
Yeah.
But that's what I love about this style of music is it's like, especially live, like when you go to an emo band show, it's like I'm sure you've heard of them, but there's this band called Real Friends that I've seen live several times.
Yeah.
And I was just watching an interview with them. That's probably why it's on my mind. But their lyrics are like very emotional and all about their anxieties and everything. And I always loved seeing them live because like they're so happy on stage and everyone singing is so happy, and you can just tell it's because like everyone is acknowledging that like they've all gone through this stuff together and like the music helps them get through it. And like, that's why I love this music so much. I think the live part of it is really where a lot of the kind of joy and serotonin, dopamine, are those the same thing? I don't know what
Serotonin's the one you said.
Serotonin. Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. Like,
that's where that really comes from, you know. It's
that sense of community. Like
so
knowing
without that, it's been hard, you know. Now that that's coming back, it's definitely like I've had more chances to you know, perform and connect with people in that way, and it's awesome. I love the whole emo alternative genre so much.
I mean, it's one thing to sit there and be like, I wonder if anyone's listening to my music right now and feeling it, and then to actually see the people that are there in front of you. So I think a lot of music has lost some of that when we stopped doing live showings, which obviously for safety reasons was necessary. But I do think bands can't just have their message from people listening to the album. They need to have that live experience so that not only can the people see like, hey, this band is wanting to put on a show for us and wanting to connect with us, but the band too, seeing everyone coming out and support in the people that they have actually affected. I think that's what drives music beyond just downloading an album on iTunes.
Definitely.
Actually, this makes me think of a really of a question that I'd like to ask you, Will. What, like, can you off the top of your head think of a time where somebody like reached out and like in some way expressed that your music like really resonated with them or like really helped them, and like just like, this is how I relate to this, and like I would just anything like that?
Yeah, anytime that I find out that my lyrics have helped someone, it's been really amazing. But it's kind of, my answer to that's going to be kind of weird, but you know, I feel like usually I like just end up finding out rather than them telling me, and it's funny because like people are like, and this is something artists need to remember, especially new artists. Like, this is, if you have a pull quote, this is super important for new artists, especially.
Is going on the
don't have a lot of fans, you know, online and blah blah blah. Is you never know. Someone could be listening to your song right now and it could be helping them, and you wouldn't even know. And people are like, everyone is just as awkward as you are, right? So like, not everyone is going to be like, hey, I listened to your song and help me through this thing, because they don't want to talk about the thing they're going through, you know. So like, a lot of times like people haven't told me personally, but I've found out like through talking to them or through just like hearing them talk about it. They'll like just kind of mention like, oh yeah, and like then I was listening to whatever song and I was like, oh really. And it's just, that's a really important thing to remember, is like your music could very well be like reaching people in a way that you will never understand and see, because you get really caught up in likes and comments and everything. But you know, someone could really be benefiting from what you're saying and you might not even know. So that's just super important to remember and keep that in mind. It's hard because, you know, when you don't see it, it's easy to think like, man, no one's really, you know, listening to this.
That is such a good point.
Yeah, and that's kind of like, yeah, exactly. So that's kind of like when my band played our first show again, and I saw people singing, I was like, wow, like I guess people really do listen to our music. I didn't know, you know, I was just like looking at numbers and stuff.
Exactly.
Like
that. Yeah. Like you can spend all your time like, you know, worrying about how many people this song is get, like how many engagements this song is getting, but at the end of the day, that song is affecting people.
Oh, you know what happened recently, actually? I just remembered someone did actually recently. I'm kind of trying to like, I haven't released any of the Peacebandit songs yet, but I'm trying to like sprinkle them out into the ether a little bit. So I like played at this open mic and I played a few of the songs. I was going to play our song, but then I wimped out.
No one knew.
I played a few of the album songs, and one of them is a song I made with my friend and roommate Taylor, and it's all about dealing with familial issues and issues with family. and I sang it, and this girl came up to me after I played and said, you know, I have a lot of issues with my parents and family, and that song was real and the lyrics meant a lot to me, and thank you for playing that. So it did happen recently, actually, and that was amazing. That like made the whole night worth it, because I felt like I didn't do the songs justice, but then when I heard that, I was like, I guess I did all right. So, and it was awesome to hear that. So
I mean, it's one
That
thing to
sounds
see
like
like the
amazing.
quantifiable data of like how many people downloaded your song, but to actually understand that your song meant something to someone,
Yeah.
like I'm sure that is just on a whole other level.
It's priceless.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't want to get too caught up in this conversation. We do have a question that we ask at every podcast episode.
Let's lighten the mood a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like we've talked a lot about heavy stuff.
Which is totally
and-
fine.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just that we got like 10 minutes left.
Yes, I don't want to like discount, and thank you so much again for sharing about your mental health and how those experiences have impacted you in various ways. This fun question: if you could be an animal, any animal in the world, and do whatever the fuck you want for like 48 hours. At the end of it, you come back to your human form with like no karma attached. What animal would you be, and what would you do?
I would definitely be a manatee. I feel like that's my spirit animal. They're just like super chill sea cows, and I think they're amazing, and people should really stop killing them with speedboats. So I think I would probably spend those 48 hours kind of leading the charge on some sort of manatee revolution.
Rise up, manatees.
Exactly.
The time is now, sea cow.
And also
William Patrick Jackson, the manatee's Braveheart.
And also 48 hours to explore whatever the fuck is going on down under, not Australia, under the ocean.
Under the ocean, yeah.
Because there's a lot of crazy like alien looking shit
Oh,
down
yeah.
there that we
Yeah.
have never seen. So I think I would spend some time looking at that as well.
Hey, you could discover the lost city of Atlantis while you're at it.
Exactly.
We get the best answers with that.
I was
have
gonna
to
say, that
like,
was a really,
Yeah.
really
we
good
get
one.
we get just
Yeah.
It seems like for some reason everybody just knows what animal. Like they're like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm prepared for this question. Like
Yes.
they know it's coming.
Real
This is
quick,
hilarious.
Zach and Lily, what
Oh,
animal
we
would
have to
you
do
be?
this every time.
Yeah, we have to do it every time. Oh, I didn't think of one. Mine are always good, and I feel like it's gonna be lackluster now. Damn it, Will had such a good one. No.
I'll let it simmer for a hot
Yeah,
second.
yeah, let that.
I'll-
I feel like you would be like an anime fox, like a fox but drawn in
kitsune.
anime.
like a kitsune.
A kitsune, yeah.
Oh, is that what that's called?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, you know what?
Yeah.
He's
Be a
absolutely
nine-tailed
right. I would,
fox.
if I was an animal, I'd be Amaterasu, the god, the sun god, the Japanese sun god. It's a dog. He's like got like a wolf, and I would definitely be that.
Oh yeah.
What would you do though?
Oh, I'd be the sun.
Be the sun.
What do you
Just
do?
be the
Do
sun.
you not want the sun for 48 hours? I gotta be the sun. How are you
Hashtag
gonna know it's been
goals.
48 hours without it?
It'll be
But
during the
I'm-
time of a
dude,
lunar eclipse. You get a little
I'm-
break.
I'm Amaterasu. Okay, I have responsibilities
Oh
that I
my
need to
gosh.
uphold.
Oh my god.
This has gone way off. I'm going to steal from the home team's answer from the last time where one of them said they'd be their cat because they want to relax and they need a vacation. I'll do that, but as a dog. I need a fucking vacation as a dog. So there.
That's a good
mine.
idea. Yeah.
I feel that on a personal level.
Or maybe as a dog, I'll learn to play video games and then I'll become like super famous on YouTube as the dog that plays video games
In 48 hours.
in 48 hours. But then I'll have a ton of money by then. So whatever.
But you gotta like edit those videos, man.
Whatever.
Yeah, and then you gotta take another video proving it's not fake.
Dogs can't edit videos, they just play video games.
I love that.
These answers
You would
are
have
always
enough money.
silly.
You could hire an editor.
Right? In
That's
48
true.
hours. Do a
Pam
dog
and-
interview.
Pam and Kibble.
Personally, I've been feeling Zach's answer from a while back.
Is it the
just be-
dragon?
You know it.
Yeah.
You know it. I would personally be a dragon and just wreak hell everywhere.
I feel like
And
this question needs
specifically-
rules.
I just get to take a village's entire supply of sheep, and
So
they
we-
can't stop me.
We have a dragon and we have the sun. This like what?
And one lowly manatee.
And one lowly manatee against the world.
Creating
And a
an
cute little
Aquaman
puppy.
army.
And
The
a
most
cute little
important manatee
puppy.
there ever
Like,
was.
Creating some Aquamanatee army.
oh, this is just chaotic. I love it.
This is
The
my-
tone of
this
this
is my
podcast
favorite
just
Avengers
went
roster.
completely the other direction.
That's why this
cool
podcast
that you
is
interviewed with the home team. I love that band.
Yeah, they were
dude,
great.
Yeah.
don't worry. Like we can talk about this tonight. 'Cause I can't.
Somebody wasn't there.
I had
Somebody.
a family emergency. I set up the interview. I got that shit going. I had a family emergency. I couldn't be there. I'm so upset
You had
about
to tend to your own home team.
it.
So you were the away team from the interview. Oh my god. This is like going off the train. All right.
We're having an amazing time.
We are having a good time.
I love that.
Blake, more questions. Let's go. Lightning round.
I think we probably got time for like one more good question.
Yes. Which, Zach, you ask your question at the end of every podcast.
You
episode.
asked it earlier.
Yeah, we kind of already covered that with the
We did?
message. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
the
asked
message.
about the
Oh.
message.
Oh, I'm just dumb. Oh, wait, it's almost 6 p.m. Oh. I'm tired, y'all. It's been a while.
You and your California time.
Yes. Oh, my God. California
So-
girls.
Your friends are insanely important to
Truly
you.
undeniable. Sorry.
Your friends are insanely important to you, and like you obviously, because you started an entire project, just like an album, just so that you can work with them. And like you said, pretty much like the only side like thing that you can do to like really relieve the stress of music is being with friends and stuff like that. How would you say this project has affected the friendships that you have with those people, if it has at all?
Oh my God. I mean, I've gotten so much closer with pretty much every person I've worked with in a lot of ways, especially the people that I didn't see a lot. And then really, I mean, the biggest thing is I kind of have this new lifelong friend and collaborator in Doug, the producer. Him and Kelly, who also worked on the album, the two of them
Amazing.
have become two of my best friends, and that was a brand new friendship. So I hadn't been friends with him before, and we just clicked instantly, and he knew exactly what I was going for. So that was really awesome. And then yeah, every person I've kind of developed a unique bond with each of them. And it's also, it's like I have all these friends working on every part of it. I had some friends film one of the music video, and another friend filmed a different one, and another friend is doing the album artwork. So I'm even involving more friends in different ways. So
You're a popular guy. Yeah,
You're popular.
popular guy.
Oh, who knew you'd be likable?
Wow.
who knew?
And with that,
You're amazing, Will.
That's our
We
last
truly
message.
appreciate you.
Thank you so much for coming on, Will. Thank
This
you
has
for
been
talking
great.
about
And
this.
Yeah.
Thank you for getting deep with us. I
Yeah.
mean, like,
Yeah.
we like to focus a lot of this podcast on the mental health side of things, and we tend to get sidetracked a little.
Yeah. And
Yeah, a few quick shout outs. You can follow me at Peacebandit on everything. Music is coming out very soon. My band is Loyalty to Me. You can follow us at Loyalty to Me _. And quick plug, also, not for me. The guy that I do my meditation with does his meditations on Zoom. His name is John Paul Crimi. Really amazing guy. Does them every Sunday. I would really encourage everyone to check him out. I believe it's breathewithjp.com. That's been a really awesome resource for me and my mental health.
If you'd like to send us like a link or something to that, we could include that in the description
Oh,
of
of
the
course.
YouTube.
Yeah. Oh my
yeah,
god.
for sure.
Yes.
Yeah,
Totally.
and with this podcast being so focused on mental health, I think we want to, like, all of us say, if you are struggling, please reach out to anyone.
Yes.
It can be a helpline, it could be a family member, a friend. Just reach out to someone, because you being here makes everything so much better.
Support. And in addition to that, if you or someone you know is struggling to find support lines, Mission Music has a whole blog post actually dedicated to crisis hotlines that is updated as I find more.
And we'll post that link too, because this has been a very heavy episode.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Keep a lookout. My first single, "This Year Almost Killed Me," is gonna be coming out in November.
All right.
And thank you again for coming on. I am Blake.
I'm Zach.
I'm Lily.
I'm Will.
And this was OnlyBands.
OnlyBands.
This year almost killed me, drowning in my sense of dread, conversating with the voices in my head, whispering, it's too cold for secrets, it's too dark to see.